All right, now that we've gone through a couple of these Formula One Grand Prix events, let's talk about the tuning setups that we've won by completing each Grand Prix event. And there's going to be obviously 7 more coming up in the coming updates in the future. So, right. So since we're talking about tuning setups, we're mainly talking about team principal level ups and how that affects your car, what it's gonna cost, so on and so forth. What's the best way to get there, and on, right? So, considering both, they don't show you, do they now? Okay, I guess we'll just check in with the car itself then. Okay, so let's check into the car we have here. Right, new tuning setup available. So Belgian Grand Prix is what I already have on this car, where, as you can see, the maxed out, it's 9676. Number of, I guess, tunings available. So that is total of 28 tunings available. And each tuning that you put on the car, your team principal earns, what, 150 principal XP, right? So if you multiply 150 by 28, you will be able to earn essentially 4,200 principal XP from the 2 Grand Prix events that we've had. In the future, I don't know if different Grand Prix events will have different number of tuning setups available. Some might have more, some might have less. I cannot confirm. But the important thing to understand is what we have so far, because we can essentially install the new British Grand Prix tuning setup that we've earned from the Grand Prix event, where there are another 28 available. I've gotten 6 to win with a Mercedes AMG. By the way, I only needed 4 with Alfa Romeo, which has the lowest PR, base PR to start off, but apparently it costed me the least amount in tuning. We're talking still like 0 gold spent, meaning no principal level up or driver level up. So if you're running like bare minimum, that's, at least for me, what I needed to win, but we'll talk about that another time. In fact, I have a video with my playthrough of Alfa Romeo run at the British Grand Prix. So yeah, anyway, we're not here to talk about that one. That's a separate video. So so there's another 28 or now down to 19 tuning setup that I can do on British Grand Prix, right? So basically the total principal XP available by completing 2 Grand Prix events so far with the same team, that basically means you have 4,200 plus another 4,200, times 2. So 8,400 principal XP is available so far. Now, the big question here is, of course, how far does that get you in terms of leveling up your principal? It will get you up to what? I want to say level 12, which will get you essentially, let's see. Here, let's check into our team principal here. So there are 12 that you can, you know what, let's say you can do 12 level ups, and there are, to get all the way up, basically, you know how you see the 4 aspects of the upgrades that you can apply. Like, let's say either you go with the, the, what is it, the GEARBOX, or power unit, or brakes, or what do they call it, the suspension, right? Those are the 4 categories that you can apply the upgrade to, right? So since there are 12 of them available, you can do 12 level ups. And to do all 12, which basically unlocks it gives you, by maxing out the principal, you get double service bar. You don't get to have unlimited drive. That's for time trials. That comes from maxing out your driver. Team principal maxing out gives you twice the service bars. Right. And to max out, you need 9,000 principal XP. And obviously, getting 8,400 doesn't quite get you there. So you're gonna need either switch back and forth between the 2 tuning setups, because each time you switch back and forth, it will cost you 15,000 motorsport dollars, but essentially your team principal wins 25 XP. So that's another way to do it, right? And well, since I do have some motorsport dollars I have to burn because I'm over 5 million cap, so let's install British Grand Prix tuning setup on my Mercedes. I could have gone with the other guy, but and then for the time's sake, we'll skip with the gold. And yes, that gives me another 25 principal XP here. So that will bring my team principals XP up to 5,600. So with 5,600, what can you do? You can get up to level 11. Because to get up there, you need 5,550 team principal XP to get there. And now we can actually spend some of these excess motorsport dollars to add more principal XP. Let's do that real quick. Max it all out. And so that's all we can do with the gearbox mapping. We'll go on to the next category, right? Which is power unit optimization, the expensive one, right? Doesn't matter how much it costs in motorsport dollars. Team principal always earns 150 XP. All right, so let's see, maxing out these 2 brings my team principal XP up to 6,500, right? And then let's continue on. The brakes, right? The cheapest tuning option available, but principal XP gained is still 150 per tuning here. So let's see, up to 7,250. Got a couple more we can get here. 7,400. And finally, this will max out the brakes up to 7,550 now. And then final category, there's 6 more. So you see where we're kind of hitting the ceiling here. Right. That's 2 down. 4 more we can get here, which means essentially, 600 more principal XP that we can gain. And Of course, there's that 25 that we got for installing each of these tuning setups. We get essentially a little bit higher than 8400, exactly twice the installation, 25 XP each. So 8450 is as far as we can get. And let's actually apply some of these principal XP to see how far we can go, right? I'll just go across the board. So level 4, level 5, level 6. Since we started level 1 and there are 12 steps that we can get, basically gets you up to level 13, right? So we are able to get up to level 12, and the final level up requires 1950 principal XP, where we are lacking some 550 principal XP, and it'll also cost you another 89 gold. So yeah, so total, if you were to like switch back and forth your tuning setup and get enough to max it out, at the end 9,000 XP is what it ends up totaling for principal XP to max out your team principal. And in terms of gold cost, the total gold cost would be 433, and they are more or less identical across all teams. So yeah, that's sort of a breakdown of how these tuning setups will work. So it's kind of matter of how you want to strategize here. So if you know exactly how many tuning setups that your principal needs to be maxed out, you can kind of spread them out across multiple Grand Prix events. So like right now, I only need like 550 more XP on Total Wolf. So if I decide to run another Grand Prix event with the same team, and if it has set PR requirement, then the chances are a lot of that tuning that I get will most likely be kind of wasted, because they're gonna require more, me to get more than, let's see, with 550, that's like 3 tuning that I get will now, at this point, max him out. So then the rest that I get will be essentially wasted, which to me is no good. So yeah, that's where part of, I guess, strategy, another thing that you have to manage this team principal XP, you have to manage by figuring out which event you're going to run which team with, because they require how many tunings that you're going to have to put on your car. See what I mean? This is getting a bit convoluted, but that would be the sort of a general synopsis of what you're looking with these tuning setups. And this is just Formula One. So if you go into, let's say, the last 2 motorsport categories that we got, which were Formula E and this GTE 2020 season, it's kind of the similar scenario, not exactly same numbers, but essentially what you need to do is kind of the same. You need to apply a tuning setup, and the first one's always going to be free, but once you have first one set up, then anything that comes afterwards, you have to basically spend motorsport dollars to install. And there's also wait time. So if you want to switch back and forth, it'll cost you gold in that one to decrease that one. Or You might be able to watch ads to decrease the wait time on that. But yeah, since with the Formula E and GTE, the previous version that introduced tuning setups, we didn't get to keep the tuning after the event, right? So basically, they gave us these sort of a generic ones that have upgraded or tuned the car to win those events. They basically gave us sort of an equivalent, I guess, what they think is you would have earned from there. Not exactly how you might have done it, but that's what we received for. Yeah, and tuning setups obviously can go from one car to another, so it's not like so number of tuning setup does not depend on the number of cars you own, but the number of Grand Prix events that you've completed, right? For Formula One, that'll be the Grand Prix, and for like GTE here, it'll be a race day event, and the Formula E would be Formula E Championship that you've completed, right? So, but yeah, that's another topic for another video. So I'll have the sort of a principal XP and all the numbers associated with that in the description box below. So if you guys want to kind of study what you need to know, then you can check that out. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.